Hi, Sam. Hi, Sam. Thanks for coming on the podcast. You're the founder of The Branding Guy. Here to talk about you are the future of marketing. So my first question is, what is personal branding, and what's at the core of personal branding?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think right at the center of personal branding for me are relationships with people in your industry, with other big personal brands, and most importantly, with your target audience, right? And then sort of built around that are three sort of pillars, if you like, that essentially support it. For me, that's personal development. So I think personal branding is as much about personal development as it is any sort of branding or marketing.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have the right mindset or leadership skills or discipline, everything else just goes out the window. Because you could have the best strategy in the world, but if you only have the discipline to execute on it one day a week, it's probably not going to be effective. So things like personal development for me are essential. And then obviously on top of that, you need to build out things like brand values, the traditional sort of branding aspects that people think about when they hear the word. And then to support that, in order to make it effective, to build an effective and profitable personal brand, if you like, are marketing systems. Because you can't expect just having a nice looking brand and some strong values to bring clients in for you. You need to have sort of the back end systems propping it up. So for me, it's sort of relationships surrounded by those three things. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So kind of your main idea that you sent across beforehand was the future of business lies in human relationships and people leading them. And you have to build a personal, strong brand to go along with the business. Do you believe that most brands need kind of a face behind it?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think most do, but not all of them. That's not to say you can't be successful without a personal brand. There's countless examples that you can. But I think moving forward, it is going to be one of the most important things, because consumers have become a lot more skeptical to traditional marketing methods, particularly from companies themselves rather than individuals. It's quite common that people see through any sort of company branding campaigns, and they have quite a bad perspective, if you like. It's not always warranted, but it's the case, and we have to get around that. And I think the key to that is putting a personal touch on it and putting a face in front of the brand so that people have more of a human relation to it.
Yeah, I suppose like that links in with influencer marketing. So people trust people. That's the whole core of I suppose influencer, but it is actually coming from a person rather than just a logo.
Yeah.
The logo means nothing without people, I suppose.
Sure.
So is personal branding right for introverts? And if you're an introvert, where would you start with personal branding?
This is a really interesting question. I completely understand the sort of fear, if you like, of personal branding if you're an introvert. But I was introverted myself. I'm in situations where I'm not comfortable. I'm very introverted. I don't like to speak up in new social situations or make a stand or anything. But once I get comfortable in a situation, I'm completely fine. And I think that's the case for a lot of introverts. Even if you're not, there's still examples of introverts that have built incredible personal brands. You take Mark Metry, for example. Mark Metry is probably one of the biggest personal brands on LinkedIn at the moment. He's built an incredible following. He's got an incredible mission, and he is a huge introvert, and he's sort of open about that. But it hasn't limited him at all. So I think it's not necessarily the case that if you're an introvert, you can't do this. And there are a number of ways to sort of bring that comfort zone in, if you like.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go in and start producing amazing videos straight away and posting them on LinkedIn. You can just sort of warm yourself up to platforms like LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever it is you're using by doing things like commenting on posts, or even just liking posts, and then maybe messaging someone directly. You don't have to instantly go in and throw yourself out there and make a text or a video post. You can just sort of build up to it with commenting on posts.
Yeah, And I suppose like, yeah, finding your medium is, so if you're not kind of used to being in front of a video camera, which I'm probably not, then yeah, content.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. I think
and
at the start it's so important just to stick to what you're good at and what you know. There obviously comes
mm,
a stage where you need to start pushing that comfort zone and trying new things because they
yeah,
might be more effective. But right at the start, just focus on what you're good at. If
yeah,
you're an excellent writer, it's better to produce 5 really good text posts than a terrible video.
yeah,
So
hundred
just
percent.
stick to what you know, right?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Um, so when you're speaking to a client, where do you get started? How do you consult people, and
Yeah.
what's the first thing you kind of start building?
So the first thing you've got to look at is your why and the sort of
Yeah.
result, the end goal, if you like, what they're looking to achieve with their personal brand. Because without that, you don't have any direction. It's like the typical sat nav analogy. You can't set a sat nav unless you have a destination.
Yeah,
So once you've got that result, that end goal, you can then sort of reverse engineer around it.
yeah. Mm,
And then obviously the first 3 things to start building off the back of that, the 3 things I mentioned at the start, the personal development, the brand values, the marketing systems. But you can only really start on those 3 things once you have the end goal.
awesome, cool. Um, what are some quick wins, and if you to kind of start with somebody in an afternoon and somebody says, right, I need to build my personal brand really quickly. Are there any kind of growth hacks that you could recommend for somebody right now that they could do this afternoon?
Yeah. So obviously once you've got your why or your goal, start researching your audience, find places where your values and your mission or your identity, if you like, overlaps with theirs. And
Mm,
these are the people you sort of want to focus your brand around because they're the people that are going to resonate with it. And at the end of the day, probably buy your services or support your mission, whatever it is. So once you've got that, you can then start building. I specialize mostly on LinkedIn, for example. You can start building out your profile. So you
yeah.
want to optimize your profile for those targets, if you like, that you've identified to take a
Mm,
specific action. So let's say, for example, you run a marketing agency and you're trying to help gyms. You tailor your profile around building rapport with gym owners, including some personality to show that you understand them. You're essentially one of them, if you like.
yeah.
Identifying the problem that you solve and how you solve it, and then basically getting them to take a specific action. So if you want them to maybe visit your website or send you a message or book a call in your calendar link, whatever it is, just have one specific action that you want them to take off your profile.
Awesome.
If we were to take it a step further, you obviously then want to get more people viewing your profile, which comes from things like posting frequently, engaging with your network. The value of actually commenting on people's posts is huge, and it's
So that's a
often
quick one that you could just
underestimated. Yeah,
comment on people. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. You
And
could,
what sort of results do you see off that? Is that just people connecting with you off the back of that and talking to you? And
yeah. So there's multiple benefits really. The first is that you actually build relationships with other people,
mm,
which means when you come to post, they're probably more likely to comment on your post, and that's going to boost the post in the algorithm of whatever platform you're using, and it's going to get it in front of more eyes, and more
yeah,
eyes is likely going to end up in more profile views or traffic or calls booked.
perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Um, who do you think has the? You mentioned the name earlier, but who do you think has the strongest personal brand in kind of marketing right now? Because
Yeah.
when I think of the best personal brands, I'm thinking of like David Beckham and things like that. But in kind of the marketing industry, who do you think's leading at the moment?
Yeah. So Gary Vee is the obvious example.
Mm,
Love him or hate him, it's undeniable that his brand is huge. Particularly his personal brand is enormous and extremely powerful. So I don't think you can disagree that he has a strong personal brand.
what do you think he's doing? Is it just his predictions that is just getting bang on every time? And
He's The thing with Gary is that he doesn't sit on the fence with anything.
mm,
He'll
yeah,
always take a stance, and he's very bold with that stance. And I think
yeah,
that boldness, whilst it repels some people, it attracts a lot of people. So he's
yeah,
got a sort of very loyal following, and he's not that bothered if he annoys some people.
Mm.
And it also helps the fact that he's got a team producing content behind his back.
Yeah.
Far away 100 pieces of content a day. Another one is Sally Illingworth. She's especially on LinkedIn. She's exceptional. She's got a lot of her content's very engaging and it resonates. I think the fact that it resonates is probably the key point.
Is she in the UK? I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, I think she might be. I think she's US based.
Okay.
But the level of engagement she's generating is enormous, and she's just the thing that's good about her is that you can see she's human. It's almost like she's just like you.
Yeah.
So yeah, hers is extremely powerful.
Awesome. So on to some quick fire questions. What it doesn't need to be around kind of personal branding, but what brands inspire you right now, and what are they doing right?
Yeah. So Gymshark has always been a big one.
Yeah.
I saw you work there actually.
yeah, I used to. Yeah.
Yeah, Gymshark, just because of the mission that you can see they have, and it feels like a genuine one. With a lot of companies, you can sort of see through it as just a campaign, but I think with them is a true mission. And the things that they're doing, like the donating £5 to the NHS for every sweaty selfie, stuff like that, just is amazing. There's a B2B marketing company, if you like, called Trendsetters. I don't know if you've heard of them. Run by Jake Bjornseth, and they're over in the States. They target Gen Z, and just he's quite close with me, and the stuff they're doing is just incredible. They're a team of young people, and obviously as another young entrepreneur to see that is amazing.
Great. What tools or software should every marketer in your field be using? What sort of, are you using any software or anything to speed up your kind of systems or processes?
It's an interesting one. I don't use too many softwares. If I had to give one thing to be using, it would be LinkedIn, because the power of it at the moment. I'm really enjoying Headliner, especially for podcast hosts. I don't know if you've ever used it, but Headliner is an awesome way to both edit videos, get transcriptions of what you've recorded, and basically they'll turn your podcast episode into videos automatically.
Wow. I'll check that out after this.
Headliner. I'll send you a link, man.
Yeah, brilliant. Where would you point people to learn more about kind of personal branding? Any books, podcasts, courses, websites, influencers?
Yeah, so one of the best books is quite general to marketing, but it applies to personal branding as well, that I've read is Marketing to Mind States by William Leach. And I think the reason it was so good is that marketing ultimately is about getting humans, even personal branding, it's about getting other humans to take a certain action. And Marketing to Mind States starts with the humans and the human brain. And it's an exceptionally interesting book.
Great. I'll have a look at that one. Where should I think I know the answer to this one. I think you're going to say LinkedIn, but where should people be spending 80% of their time to get the most results? Yeah,
so I think it's actually in either direct messages or just in conversations with their target audience. If your target audience are on Instagram, make it on Instagram and talk to them frequently. If they're on LinkedIn, use LinkedIn. If they're on Facebook, whatever the platform, just make sure you're talking to your target as frequently as possible.
Great. If you could place an ad anywhere in the world with any message on, what would it be?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I think I'd go for Facebook, top of Facebook or Google. I think it'd get the most views there. Just the
leaderboard of Facebook, basically.
Yeah, so if possible.
Yeah.
And it would just say, slow down, chill out or something. I think a lot of people are moving way too fast in this world. And if we just slow down, take a minute and relax a little bit, any problem we have seems a lot easier to solve and a lot more insignificant.
Good one. Where can people find you if they have any or do you have any request of the audience just before we ask the kind of final question?
Yeah, if I had to request, I think I'd say post on LinkedIn and shoot me a message on LinkedIn. I want to chat with people. I just want to have conversations with like-minded people. So do both of those things, and I promise you won't regret it.
Awesome. And you've got your own podcast. What's
That's right. My podcast is called In Conversation. It's very chilled out. Just weekly chats with the people of LinkedIn, basically.
Great. Fantastic. And the final question to end, what will make you excellent in a single sentence in this area of marketing?
Yeah. Thoroughly understanding your audience and having frequent conversations with them.
Perfect. Thank you very much, mate.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Nice one.